tell you something that nobody said to you before you graduated. Your degree is important, but your degree is not your career. I want you to hear that again because most of us spend years, money, energy, and even sacrifice chasing a certificate that we believed would automatically translate into a career. And then we entered the workplace and boom, realize that it's not that simple. But what I do today in my professional life is about 4,000% different from what I studied in school, and I'm not an exception. I'm sure there are thousands of people like me who what they studied is not even what they are practicing. And of course, this is not to diss the people who are actually practicing what they studied in school. Welcome to Diary of a Young Professional. My name is Fezilua Johnson, and this is episode 2 of our series Transition from School to the Workplace. In episode 1, we talked about the mindset shift that has to happen when you move from being a student to becoming a professional. If you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch that video now. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest assumptions that young professionals carry into the workplace, the belief that your degree determines your career. And I want to completely reframe how you see it as. Because if you're sitting somewhere right now feeling like your degree doesn't quite match the work that you're doing or the work that you want to do, this episode is going to completely bring you clarity and a lot of relief. Most of us grew up with a very specific belief about how life was supposed to work. Get good grades, choose the right course, graduate with a strong result, and then the career follows automatically. That was the formula. That was what we were told. That was what our parents believed. In fact, that was what our teachers reinforced and what the entire educational system was built around. And so we did everything right. We showed up. We studied. We wrote the exams. In fact, we graduated in flying colors. And then we entered the workplace and discovered that the formula was incomplete because the workplace don't just ask what you studied. It asks about what you can do, how you think. It asks how you communicate, how you solve problems, how you even handle pressure, how you relate with people, and how you grow. And most of these things are not necessarily taught in the four walls of the school, right? Now, I want to be careful here because this is not an attack on our educational system. Your degree matters. It opened the door. It gave you something real. But what it gave you might be different from what you think. Your degree gave you the ability to think through problems, to research, to document, to stay with a challenge even when the answer isn't obvious, to meet deadlines, to work under pressure. Those are foundational abilities and they are genuinely valuable in the workplace. But they are foundation, not a finished building. The mistake most young people make is treating their degree like the destination. Like once you have your certificate, once you're done in school, the work is done. No, your degree is not the destination. It is the starting point. Here's what actually happens in most professional journey, and I want you to hear me clearly because it will save you a lot of unnecessary panic. Your career will evolve. It will shift. It will take turns that you did not even plan for. New industries, new technologies will emerge. Things that did not even exist when you were in school. New opportunities will appear that your degree never even prepared you for. Your interest will develop. Your strength will become clearer. The world around you will even change. And sometimes, often actually, the work you end up doing looks very different from what you studied in school. And you must know that this is not failure. In fact, this is not a mistake. It's a career evolution. Some of the most impactful professionals you know out there are not necessarily working in the field that they studied. They took what their degree gave them and built on it. Remember, I mentioned earlier that what your degree gave you is a foundation and you must build on it. And that's what most professionals that you see out there are doing. Your degree introduces you to the world of work. Your career is what you build once you are inside it. So, if your degree is the foundation, what builds the rest? Let me let me be very direct with you. Graduation is not the end of learning. In many ways, it's just the beginning. I know we have this culture in Nigeria where we sign off, we sign on each other's clothes when we're done with school. You hear people say, oh, once I'm done with my final paper, I'm not going to read billboard, I'm not going to read newspaper and all of that. No, the workspace move faster than any academic program that you can keep up with. New tools, new systems, new ways of working, new industries emerging every few years. And if you stop learning the moment you collect your certificate, you will be left behind. The professionals who grow, the ones who get promoted, the ones who build influence, the ones who create real impact, they remain students long after graduation. They pursue certification, they pursue written knowledge, they learn new tools, they read, they find mentors, they put themselves in rooms where they are the least experienced person and they pay attention. YouTube, as my boss once told me, is a university of its own. Courses are available, resources exist. There's almost nothing you cannot learn if you're willing to put in the time. The question is not whether the resources exist. The question is whether you are willing to keep learning after school stop requiring it from you. And alongside upskilling, there is something equally important that your degree never taught you. Part of building your career is actually discovering who you are actually as a professional, what problem you can solve, where does your ability create the most value, what kind of environment brings out your best work, what are you genuinely good at, not what you're qualified for. These are questions that your degree cannot answer for you. They are answered through experience, through reflections, through self-discovery. And when your strengths, your interest, your opportunities begin to align, that is when your career stops feeling like a job and start feeling like a purpose. So let me leave you with this. If your career path looks different from what you studied, do not panic. In fact, do not feel behind. Do not feel like you made the wrong choice. Many professionals are not doing exactly what they studied in school. What matters is not the label of your certificate. What matters is what you're learning, how you're growing, and what you're building, whatever it is that you are planted. Your degree may open the door, but what you build after that, the skill that you develop, the experience that you accumulate, the person you're becoming, that is the career that you eventually have. So build it, work it, and own it. This is Diary of a Young Professional, where careers are built intentionally and not by accident. And I'm going to see you on the next episode. Ensure you subscribe, like, and share.